What's good, nerds? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the Movie Mass. I am your brother, Movie Monk Jay, the Bishop of Bullmoose, the Shaolin Abbot of Arrow, the Vicar of Vinegar Syndrome, and most importantly, the Criterion Choir Boy. And I'm here. What's up? Vinegar Syndrome just concluded their subscriber week yesterday as I record this. So I did want to take a little bit of time to discuss maybe a little post-mortem, my final thoughts around subscriber week as that tees up 2026 for Vinegar Syndrome. And I think it's an important topic for those of us who consider ourselves fans, generally speaking, of Vinegar Syndrome, which I believe we are. I got my AVA Pop Culture koozie back. There we go. Thank you, Chase, for sending another koozie. Can't go without my koozie, making my fingers cold and shit. The first thing that really kind of stands out to me about this subscriber week is that I did not buy anything in the daily deals. That's the first time in a couple of years that I've passed up all of the daily deals for a major Vinegar Syndrome sale. I usually love buying old Vinegar Syndrome shit for like $18 for a Blu-ray with a slipcover. That usually is one of my favorite things to do, is getting a nice deal on a Blu-ray with a slipcover from Vinegar Syndrome. I did make a couple of purchases. They weren't daily deals. I bought Ghost Keeper and The Great Silence. Obviously, these were brand new releases that I purchased. And I made purchase of them because they were going to go out of print on the limited edition. They were going to go OOP on the LE. And I think we really need to sanction that as like an approved colloquialism for when the limited edition of a movie sells out. It feels like a useful shorthand. OOP on the LE. Yo, what's up? Gang signs, west, west, yo. On top of that, I spelled colloquialism properly the very first attempt when I was writing these notes up. Just want you guys to know I can spell colloquialism. So I just bought two releases that were like right about to sell out of their limited editions. So like my two purchases were completely homosexual in nature, but we welcome homosexuals at this particular mass, okay? We are welcoming of the homosexual community here at the Movie Mass, guys. And I also appreciate that I can use the words colloquialism and then homosexual in adjacent breaths. That is the kind of quality content that I pledge to you, my viewers, in 2026, okay? I think the sale being right after Christmas doesn't help. I mean, I'm only gonna buy something if it's right about to sell out, like Ghost Keeper and The Great Silence were. Otherwise, it's just hard for me to pull the trigger on something right after Christmas. I mean, right after Christmas is really, really rough. Christmas and then New Year's, and my wife and I have an anniversary on the 3rd. So for us, it's like Christmas, New Year's, our anniversary. We just celebrated 10 years the other day too, by the way. So I have to imagine that Vinegar Syndrome's demo is more along the like middle-aged lines. Like I think their primary demographic is probably chiefly male. I'm not saying they don't have female customers, but I think their demographic is probably chiefly dudes, and chiefly dudes who are like 30 plus, maybe 35 plus in the age bracket. As much as it pains me to say that, as I fall into that age bracket, I got the gray beard and all, there's a strong element of nostalgia to the Vinegar Syndrome releases. I mean, it's a lot of schlocky films, Trolls 2 type of stuff where you're probably gonna dig it more if you grew up watching that kind of thing. And if you're a younger, you know, you're a Gen Z or something like that, and you don't have any memory from before 2005, then I don't know how much the movies of the 70s and 80s, like I don't know how much that stuff is going to appeal. Maybe it does. There has to be some demographic of younger people who have discovered. I mean, I love movies of the 1930s and all, so I'm not saying that there's nobody. I'm just making a broad generalization. It's probably more older people. And so I say all that because depending on the product and the industry, for the right product, the right business, having a sale right after Christmas could actually be a really smart move because you got a bunch of young people, teenagers, early 20-somethings, that might have received a bunch of cash and or gift cards for Christmas from parents, grandparents, etc. But us older folks, I'm assuming you're like me, you got the gray bush, thus older folks, we tend to come out on the other side of Christmas kind of sore, chapped around the anal cavity. Your butt hurts. At bare minimum, you might even be like completely prolapsed if you're like me this time of year, like bleeding internally, and you need medical attention. I mean, I will typically spend like 200-ish bucks during a Vinegar Syndrome sale, but man, I just had no appetite for spending money after Christmas this year. I have to take care of the kids and my parents and my wife, and it just, you know, I'm like, no, I want to keep my wallet closed for a little while. I gotta cross my legs here and sit like a lady. I'm pulling down my skirt at the table and everything. So there's actually dudes like ripping off my old roof and installing a new roof on my house as I record this. They're up there right now, and I hope you can't hear them because they're making a lot of damned noise. But we just found out from the guy who's got the contract that they have to replace some of the wood up there. $85 per board for 30 some odd boards. It's gonna cost us an extra $3,000. So my surprise purchase of today was 3 times the cost of a Vinegar Syndrome subscription. Surprise, $3,000 got tacked on to the price of my new roof on top of what we were already paying them for the materials and the labor, the shingles and laborers on my roof and shit like that. So my asshole is just absolutely trashed for spending money right now, and I really just want to limp feebly to the Valentine's Day sale, if I may, if that's all right, Vinegar Syndrome. Justin La Liberty, is that okay with you? I hope it's okay. I promise I'm gonna buy Married to the Mob at some point, all right, buddy? Don't come here and kick my ass. So I will also say about the Subscriber Week releases, they were moderately exciting. I'm not here to trash them at all. I will eventually buy several of the titles. I'll eventually pick up Married to the Mob. Like I said, I missed the Fun City Editions version, so I'll be happy to grab this on 4K because I don't own it. Same thing with The Gambler. I don't have a copy of The Gambler, so it'll be nice to grab it on 4K in a nice cinematograph edition. I do tend to like the cinema, I mean, as long as I like the movie, but something like Little Darlings, Touch, I mean, some of these cinematograph releases are really quite nice, and I've loved the attention to detail for those. So I'm sure to pick up those. Tank Girl, I'm sure to pick up. Bitch, I am so behind on my VSUs. It's not even funny, but obviously I'm committed to that line of films. So I will be picking up Tank Girl. In the future, I anticipate picking up at a future sale, perhaps in a year from now when it's 50% off, you know, some future halfway to Black Friday sale where the whole website's 50% off, boom, I'll pick it up. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, I'm kind of excited. I've seen the remake that was written by Guillermo del Toro. I saw that, I don't know, 2012, 2013-ish. When it was relatively new. I haven't seen it since then, but I'll be interested to see the original version that it was based off of, and I know I could go get the Warner Archive Blu-ray, I could go get the Warner Archive Blu-ray for, I don't know, 12 bucks, but I mean, come on, how can you resist a beautiful Vinegar Syndrome double slipcover? It's like those Russian nesting dolls of slipcovers. You pull it out of the VSA style slipcover and then it's got another normal slipcover on it. I just can't wait till the day that they got like 3 of them. I want like 3 of them. I want it like a slipcover and then like a slipcase and then like another slipcover, like or like, you know, with the magnetic thing. Do that for me. Give me a slipcover and then a slipcase and then slide the whole thing into one of those magnetic doodads. I want it to be like a Russian nesting doll. I want it to take me 15 minutes to remove the disc, to put it in to watch the movie. For me, please. Could you do that for me, please, in 2026 Vinegar Syndrome, okay? I think 2 slipcovers is completely played out. Everybody's doing it now. You need to give us 3 slipcovers if you want to maintain your competitive edge. I will certainly also be buying Made in Hong Kong Volume 2. I'm going to wait for a sale for all of these. Like I said, I'm not going to buy any of them before Black Friday 2026, at the absolute earliest, if they go on sale. If any of these go on sale, and I doubt any of these will because they're still fairly new, but maybe some of them might go on sale for Black Friday 2026. And so that's gonna be the earliest I buy them unless they're right about to go out of print. Otherwise, I can't do it. This leaves me feeling like Vinegar Syndrome has so many releases that I want, but relatively few that I need now, if that makes sense. I gotta buy them ASAP. I don't really feel that until you open the page for The Great Silence and you see that it's at like 300 copies and you're like, wait a minute, didn't this just get released an hour and a half ago? What is going on here? And then, you know, you just get down with that FOMO shit, right? Like it gets hot and heavy and very FOMO in the bedroom and you gotta click. I was actually in my bedroom with my laptop when I bought The Great Silence. So I say that as a joke, but also I was actually sitting in my bedroom on my laptop when I bought The Great Silence. So it's not even a joke, actually, it's just real life. But I just think that like so much of my interaction with the Vinegar Syndrome website is like looking at the numbers of units left on something that I want. Like, you know, you make the list and then you're like, all right, I'm gonna keep these tabs open. Like I live with like 47 Vinegar Syndrome tabs open. I'm like a tab hoarder anyway, as it is, but like forget about it. Vinegar Syndrome tells you how many units are available. Once that bitch gets below 2,000, you know, you start watching that countdown, and if it starts moving quick, boy, you better jump on that shit if you're a psychopath about the limited editions, as I am. I don't have any standard editions back there. I don't know how much of my Vinegar Syndrome and partner label collection you can see behind my head, but I don't got one single solitary standard edition. Everything's in a slipcase back there. Miss me with that standard shit, all right? If it doesn't have a expensive piece of cardboard around it, I ain't rolling over in bed for that shit. Everything's sad. Like, I know I did not give them very much money. That's fine. I don't think Vinegar Syndrome is hurting, though. I think one thing that we learned during this subscriber week is that Vinegar Syndrome is doing okay with their subs. They sold, at minimum, 2,000 subscriber packages, plus more than 2,000 if some of the returning subscribers re-upped after they sold the 2,000. Vinegar Syndrome made a commitment. They made two commitments. They said, we're limiting to 2,000 subs in 2026, which makes a certain amount of sense, right? It'll help them get units and boxes and packages out in a timely fashion. That's been a complaint in the past about Vinegar Syndrome, not getting these usually after like a large sale, not getting these packages out very fast at all. And of course, people online complain when 6 weeks later, their Black Friday package hasn't arrived yet. Okay, so limiting to 2,000 subscribers will help with that. At the same time, Vinegar Syndrome also committed to allowing every subscriber from 2025 to resubscribe. They were guaranteeing a spot for every subscriber in 2025. I reckon there were at least 1,500 subscribers in 2025, which means their max number of subs for 2026 could actually be something like 3,500, because if they sold the 2,000 to completely new non-resubscribers from 2025, and then all of the 2025 resubscribers resubscribe, combining those two, you get about 3,500 or so, give or take, subscribers. Now, I don't think they had that many, because I doubt everybody resubscribed, and some of the resubscribers probably are among the 2,000. There's some crossover on that Venn diagram. But let's just say, at bare minimum, we know they sold 2,000, plus maybe more, but we know they sold 2,000 subscriber packages at about $1,000 each, because it's $1,095, but they gave out discount coupons to a lot of folks like myself. I didn't subscribe this year, but at bare minimum, 2,000 times 1,000 equals 2 million. Convert that to US dollars. 2 million US dollars that Vinegar Syndrome made in subscriber week. That's on subs alone. Feels like a pretty good week for a business. If you also consider that there's a lot of titles that aren't part of the sub package, Tank Girl I mentioned, Married to the Mob, Don't Be Afraid of the Dark, The Gambler, all of these they're discounted for subs, but non-subs were buying these titles as well. They undoubtedly sold a ton of copies of those titles, on top of the fact that they probably moved thousands of units each day in the daily deals as well. So, you know, on top of the 2,000 subs, who knows how many tens of thousands of units they sold over the course of that week. They made bank during subscriber week. I mean, 2026, I believe they're going to be safe for doing their business operations this year. We don't have to worry about Vinegar Syndrome closing its doors in 2026, especially with that Warner Brothers deal that they strategically announced near the beginning of the sub week. And I think that helped them move some subs. I think that was a smart move of them to make that announcement when they did. The timing of that announcement, right at the beginning of sub week, got everybody excited. What kind of Warner Brothers stuff are we going to see this year? It got people horned up for the sub, I think. So all said and done, if you told me that Vinegar Syndrome made $3 million, $3.5 million this week, I would not argue with you. I wouldn't argue with you about it. I would simply nod my head and say, yeah, I can see that. I mean, they get a cut of partner sales too. And you saw how The Great Silence and Ghost Keeper sold, and that's just 2 of the, I don't know, dozen partner titles that dropped on sub week. So I think Vinegar Syndrome is doing just fine. I think it was a good week for their bottom line. I think they had a very profitable week, and good for them. I'm not upset about them making good money, because I still, obviously I believe in their product. So what does the sub week indicate for the future, at least for 2026? I think Vinegar Syndrome is clearly indicating that they are wide open for 4K upgrades of Fun City Editions Blu-rays. And I have to admit, it feels like a little bit of a middle finger to Fun City Editions for leaving the partners, leaving as a partner label a couple of years ago. So it feels like Vinegar Syndrome was happy to utilize their greater resources. I don't think anybody can deny that Vinegar Syndrome is the larger company. They have that whole OCN network going for them. I think they have greater resources to buy up 4K licenses that Fun City Editions may not have, and so that feels a little bit like an FU to Fun City Editions, and we'll see how. It seems like most of those Fun City Editions are going towards the Cinematograph line, which isn't surprising. They feel right for the Cinematograph line, and in fact, I will go so far as to say the Cinematograph line almost feels like a response to losing Fun City Editions as a partner label. I feel like when Fun City Editions leaves, well, now you don't have to worry about any conflicting interest. I mean, if you're Vinegar Syndrome, you don't want to fuck your partner label partners over, right? Because that's bad for business. These are titles that are being sold through your website as well. And you don't want to stab these guys in the back. But if they leave and they're no longer part of your partner program and you're no longer selling them or distributing them through your OCN distribution arm, then, all's fair in business. And it does feel a little bit like Vinegar Syndrome creates this Cinematograph line where they say, we want to have sort of this niche of films. We want these like American films of, certain kind of 70s and maybe into the 80s type of era. There might be a few 90s films in the Cinematograph line as well, but we want something that's a little bit less schlocky slasher shit, that's like ultra low budget homegrown horrors type of stuff. We want something like Last Embrace. It's got Christopher Walken in it. We want something like At Close Range. We want to be able to do stuff like We're No Angels, and it feels like a little bit of a like Fun City Editions replacement in Cinematograph, as well as kind of an FU to Fun City. They're telling you that Cinematograph is kind of the Fun City Editions replacement when they start putting out 4Ks of films that were previously released by Fun City Editions. I think that clearly indicates that there is a certain future purpose of the Cinematograph line, and it may be to allow Vinegar Syndrome to continue to release that type of film, of like that genre, that brand, that era. I think the Dario Argento spigot is still wide open. They're still spraying us with that Dario Argento fire hose, just knocking us right off the sidewalk like it's 1964, and we're marching for civil rights. They are hitting us with that Dario Argento spigot, and I don't know how I feel about it. I thought Argento was a cheese, not a filmmaker, but oh well. Maybe his cousin started the cheese company, I don't know. You know how these Italians love their fine cheeses, Hong Kong shit is still cheap to license, so I think that's obviously still on the menu too. I think we're gonna see Hong Kong releases every single month this year. That's my prediction for 2026. We've already seen Made in Hong Kong in January, so hey, that's 9 more months to go because Vinegar Syndrome doesn't release in June or December. So I think we're going to see Hong Kong shit every single month that Vinegar Syndrome releases. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm right or not. Also, shipping went up from $6 to $8. That's not a huge thing. It kind of sucks a little bit. It's $2 extra. It's not terribly surprising either. Shit's just getting more expensive. Speaking of which, the 4K cinematograph titles went from $59.99, let's call them $60, to $62.98, let's call them $63. So that's a $3 increase, but it's a little bit of an increase. I can see prices across the board edging up a little bit, $2, $3. Nothing huge, nothing that you might even notice. People might not even notice a $3 increase on a MSRP for a cinematograph because we're not paying the MSRP anyway. You don't really even look at that price. It's got the little line through it all year, so who cares? But I see prices kind of edging up a little bit in 2026, just a touch. I don't think it's greed. I think it's probably cost covering. Businesses incur costs, so you got to pay the artists who do shit like this handsomely. You got to pay this person, okay? That person deserves a lot of money, a big check. You got to pay $3 extra for your cinematograph 4Ks this year because this artwork costs a lot. It's not something my 6-year-old could have done for free, okay? Vinegar Syndrome, call me, all right? I'll give you half price on my 6-year-old doing better artwork than that shit. I think with prices increasing, shipping increasing, I think it makes more sense than ever to shop the sales, as I like to promote, as well as stacking your orders. Typically during a sale, you can order things every day on the daily deals, and it's not like you get hit for shipping with each single order. That is something I do love about Vinegar Syndrome is if they've got a week of daily deals changing every single day, you make a purchase yesterday and then you make a purchase today, it's not like you got to pay $8 both times. You get to combine your shipping. So I think it makes a lot of sense to, instead of making many orders throughout the year, consolidate your orders a little bit, bring them together, stack them, pay shipping just one time instead of multiple times. If you buy just one title every single month, that's going to tack $8 on for that one item, whereas kind of stacking these, consolidating these orders will help you save money on shipping, and that's just smart. It also might be prudent to do a little shopping from Orbit and Diabolic instead of the Vinegar Syndrome website. You can get Vinegar Syndrome titles brand new from Diabolic and Orbit DVD, and typically it's very easy to meet a threshold. I think Diabolic, I think it's only $50 for free shipping. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going off the top of my head, but you can get free shipping for $50, I think, from Diabolic. So something to think about. You won't have to pay that $8. I have no doubt in my mind that Vinegar Syndrome is going to release some bangers here in 2026. That's not a doubt. I'm not casting any aspersions at all. I think they have several bangers every single year. Every single year that I've been a Vinegar Syndrome customer, they have released bangers throughout the year. So regardless of what people are saying about 2025 having been a disappointment, you bought shit in 2025. You know you did. There was some shit you bought in 2025 that was selling out fast. I don't know if it was New Rose Hotel or Iron Angels Trilogy or what, but you bought Dirty Work, sold out pretty quick. You bought some shit because it was about to sell out. Those are the bangers I'm talking about. And Dirty Work was a banger. Don't even try to argue that it was not a banger. And so I think we got some stuff to look forward to in 2026, just from what Vinegar Syndrome has given us as a preview. We got Demon Warp in 4K coming next month, as well as an early 90s erotic thriller. We don't know what that one is, but I like early 90s. I like erotic. I like thriller. So color me interested on that one, and that's coming in February. We got a gory 80s Italian horror and a gory 90s slasher coming in March. Okay, I like it. I like gory. I like 80s. I like 90s. I like slasher. I like March. I don't even mind March. I think I like March. Lady in White on 4K, featuring 3 versions of the movie, are coming in April. So you got to wait till Halloween to watch that one, though. You can't be watching Lady in White in April. You just can't do it. It's a Halloween movie. It occurs on Halloween, or at least the majority of the film, first half of the film, occurs on Halloween. So don't be fucking around and watching that movie in April. They shouldn't have done that. They should have released that shit back at the beginning of October and had it shipped in time for Halloween, but it is what it is. But that's something to look forward to. There's also an 80s drive-in horror film that is being restored to its, intended version or something like that. Something along the lines of it's never been seen properly, it's never been released properly, and it's getting a proper release in April as well. I like 80s drive-in type of stuff. I like that cheesy schlocky shit, and that's why I'm a Vinegar Syndrome customer, as you can see. There's a studio mystery slash slasher coming to 4K in May. It sounds like a lot of 4K releases. A lot of these releases that I'm interested in are 4K. There's an 80s slasher 4K and an early 90s horror 4K coming in July. We're skipping June, of course. An unnerving 80s horror sci-fi on 4K is coming in August. A double feature of early 80s horror, VS is calling them classic, on 4K in September. You got a 90s horror by a major director coming in 4K in October, as well as a 4K upgrade of an 80s horror film. And that's in October. We got 2 4Ks by genre icons, as well as surprise releases in November. You know, they always drop those surprise 4Ks on us for that Black Friday event. We always look forward to that Black Friday event. Remember when they gave us the Keep? That's pretty cool. And of course, we're skipping December as well. Those are the partner months. And that's just the stuff that stands out to me, like based on my personal interest. There might be other shit that I didn't mention that you're interested in because your interests are more perverse and profane than mine. So I think we're gonna see some more winners from Vinegar Syndrome this year. I tend to be optimistic. I'm going into 2026 optimistically. Lord knows I will probably spend as much with them this year as I did last year, because I think they're just gonna release some fire. Maybe not everything is gonna be great, but that's okay too. I don't mind if they have a month of stuff that I'm not super interested in, because I've still got 400 movies that I've got on my shelves over here that I haven't watched yet, and I don't mind having an off month. I don't even mind when it's partner label only month. Like June comes around, I was like, good, let me catch my breath, okay? I need to go bandage myself. I need to go set my femur so that can heal, and my butthole is just, I need to have my butthole surgically reconstructed, okay? Because that's how much Vinegar Syndrome be moving into my anus. Anyway, I hope you guys find some stuff to enjoy this year as well. Let me know what you're excited about. I don't know if you're excited for Demon Warp or Lady in White. I'm like mid on Lady in White. I like it, but it's not, I'm not gonna like jizz my pants over it. I'm sure it'll look really good though. I mean, I'm sure they'll do a great job on the restoration, so I may end up changing my tune come October. Anyway, let me know what you got going on down below. I wanna say thank you to these fools for being patrons. I just put a new roof on my house today, y'all. Feel free to join the Patreon and help me out, you know what I'm saying? So I can afford to sub in 2027. I'm saving all my pennies. But I appreciate you guys for being real ones. I appreciate you for watching this video. Even if your name ain't on that list, I still appreciate you for putting your eyeballs on me. I'm gonna drink this in your honor. Peace, y'all.